I know the hour is late, and I would like to thank you for your indulgence in letting us do this resolution tonight. This resolution honors a man. This resolution honors a man who spent his entire life dedicated to the service of other people. This gentleman, Mr. Harold Buehler, died at age 61 last Sunday in Memphis. We needed to do this week because his funeral services will be on Saturday, and we very much wanted to get this resolution to his family. I'm going to just say a few brief words about Harold, and a few of the delegation would like to speak, and we will make it brief, but thanks again for your indulgence. Harold, simply put, was a good man. He came from a good family who moved to Indiana, to Memphis from Indiana, and his father was a minister and also a professor. He taught at Lemoyne-Owen. He dedicated his life to the education of our African American citizens. Harold very much followed in his father's footsteps. He started out in his career as an educator and a coach. He had teams and stuff in the inner city for kids, and actually had an Olympic athlete that he mentored. He went from that to developing low-income housing. In a time in Memphis where almost all the developers will go into the suburbs to build housing that was more profitable, Mr. Buehler stayed in the inner city. He is more responsible than any other private citizen in Memphis for low-income families having decent, affordable housing. His family, his entire family are wonderful, kind, caring people. We want to send our condolences to them and just let them know that we're all going to miss Harold. I believe there's some other people in the delegation that would like to speak. Representative Chairman DeBerry, did you want to?
Chairman DeBerry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'd like to send our condolences to the Buehler family, and we appreciate the fact that as an entrepreneur that he did many innovative things in housing in the city of Memphis. And we hope that his family will find comfort and peace in his accomplishments. And I think it is a fitting thing that the House of Representatives recognizes him on this day.
Representative Cornell.
Members of the General Assembly, one thing I want to say is this. We have talked about asking people in private enterprise to go into the city, the inner city, and asking people who are in the construction, home building business to go into the inner city, and we give them incentives because we believe that it's better that a private business person make these efforts in the inner city, often because it would be better than just government doing it. Mr. Buehler was one of those men. He was a businessman who went and took a bleak, vacant lot and took that vacant lot and turned it into a home for a family. There are many, many families that used to be on welfare and homeless that now have a home in a place that used to be a vacant lot or a blighted area. He actually helped fulfill many of the things that we have hoped for over the years in this General Assembly. And we're going to miss him, and we wish his family the best. And they're continuing to use their business acumen and their business practices to improve the inner city. We want to thank the family and him. I knew him. He was a very nice man, and he was very dedicated to doing this kind of work. Thank you.
Representative Towns, please.
Representative Towns, sir.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. With all that has already been said about Harold Buehler, not only was Harold Buehler that kind of fellow in terms of being a really unconventional business person, but also I think one of the great testaments of his life will be that when you met him, he always had the same countenance on his face. He was always happy he would take a bitter lemon situation and turn it into sweet lemonade. As all of us do frequently have problems in our lives, he had them as well with business, but he never complained about them. Other thing I think is very memorable about his life is the fact that many young people that met him, they called him Coach. And all of us know the impact that coaches have on our lives if you played any kind of sports. But he was remembered and known all over the city because of the young people that he touched during his life. He was only 61 years old, but he taught in the school system for a number of years. And with that, he gained the respect of lots and lots and lots of young people throughout our community. And as we should say, not only will his family sorely miss him, but the community will surely miss him as well. And the kind of new paradigm that he brought to business is something that we have to find someone to fill that void. And we'd like to just extend our warm condolences to the family and pray that the family be uplifted in their time of need.
Thank you. And Mr. Buehler's influence was even more widespread than in Shelby County, and two of our colleagues outside of Shelby County were able to meet Mr. Buehler and see some of his work. So I would like to call on them right now to speak. First, Representative Mike Stewart.
Thank you, Representative Richardson. Thank you, members. I was blessed to have many conversations with Mr. Buehler about the work he was doing in Memphis regarding low-income housing. Obviously, in Davidson County, we have the same need for that sort of entrepreneurial spirit in inner-city neighborhoods where we have all sorts of housing challenges. You know, he really was the person in Tennessee that had the most experience with this sort of thing, and I was always pleased that he was willing to take time out of his day and talk to me about some of the work he was doing in Memphis with particularly with financing this sort of housing. He was always willing to speak to me about this, and it really enlightened me as to some things we could be doing in our own city. And for that, as well as for all he did for the state, I'm deeply thankful.
Thank you, Representative. And last but certainly not least, Speaker Williams would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Representative Richardson. I had the privilege and the honor of spending probably 3 hours with Mr. Buehler and at one of my trips to Memphis, and we visited some of the low-income housing. And I didn't get to know him real well, but I will always remember him and that visit for the simple reason, one of the houses that we visited, low-income housing, there was a family, a single mother with 3 small children, 1 teenager and 2 very small children. And I asked one of the children how it compared to where they lived before and what's the difference. And the little child said, "I have a yard to play in." And that kind of stuck with me, so I'll always remember Mr. Buehler, and appreciate, and I think the state of Tennessee and all of us appreciate what he did in his lifetime. And it's a shame to lose a young man, I think, of 61 years old. And it was a pleasure for me to spend 3 hours with this fine gentleman. Thank you, Representative Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to now move to concur in Senate Joint Resolution 1312.
Lady moves to concur. Properly second. Is there any further discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, all those in favor vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed to vote no.
Thank you. And on behalf of Mr. Buehler's family, who obviously couldn't be here this week, I would like to thank you all very, very much.
Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Take vote, Mr. Clerk.
Ayes 88, noes none.
Senate Joint Resolution 1312, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare it concurred in. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is tabled.